I sat alone in my sunroom, the spring breeze teasing the lace curtains as sunlight painted soft streaks across the floor. The scent of jasmine wafted in from the garden, the same garden I had planted when my son was 5 and obsessed with butterflies. Funny how the past clings to a place, even when the people don't. My phone buzzed on the glass coffee table. It was a photo. My grandson, dressed in a tailored, navy blue tuxedo, beaming beside a young woman in white. The caption read, "Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, forever starts today." My hand trembled as I set the phone down. There had been no call, no invitation, no explanation. I had raised my son, Tyler, on my own after his father vanished into a bottle and then into the wind. I took on double shifts, sold the family piano to pay for his college prep courses, and skipped meals more times than I could count. And now, I wasn't good enough to sit at his wedding. I picked up the phone again and scrolled. My sister-in-law was tagged in dozens of pictures, toasting the bride and groom. My cousins. Even Tyler's 4th-grade teacher. But not me. The woman who had wiped every bloody knee, sat through every science fair, and cheered at every football game. For a moment, I wondered if it was a mistake. Maybe I had missed the mail. Maybe it was lost. But deep down, I knew. I wasn't invited because I wasn't wanted. The realization didn't break me. It sharpened me. Something inside me went still, like a lake just before a storm. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and pulled open the drawer where I kept my financial documents. It was time to remember who I was, and remind them of who made them. My fingers grazed over the manila folders in the drawer, each one a silent record of years spent giving everything I had. Mortgage payments, tuition bills, medical receipts, grocery lists scribbled in haste. It was all here. Proof of a life where I always came second so Tyler could come first. I remembered the year he almost didn't graduate. He had fallen in with the wrong crowd. Late nights, missed classes, a haze of smoke clinging to his clothes. I dragged him out of a party once by his ear. People stared. He yelled at me, told me I was embarrassing him. But I never stopped. I tutored him myself at night. I hired a private counselor with money I didn't have. I worked a 3rd job cleaning hotel rooms, just so he could stay in that private school. And now, he was a man. A husband. A stranger. The betrayal wasn't just that I was excluded from his wedding. It was the silence, the lack of remorse, as if he had rewritten his past without me in it. Like I was a chapter he had edited out. I poured myself a glass of water and sat back down, heart pounding in rhythm with the ache in my chest. My hand trembled slightly as I reached into the stack of papers and pulled out a letter. The letter. The one from my lawyer. 2 years ago, when I sold the family house after my mother passed, I put the money into a trust. I had named Tyler the beneficiary. At the time, it seemed like the right thing to do. He and his fiancée Emily had just gotten engaged. They were struggling, and I wanted to give them a head start. I hadn't told anyone about the clause. A small line buried in the legal jargon. The trust can be revoked or reassigned at the grantor's discretion prior to final transfer. I had a choice. I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity. I wanted Tyler to understand the cost of rewriting history and erasing the person who had carried him through it. I picked up the phone. The line rang twice before it connected. Emily's voice answered, too chirpy for someone who'd ghosted me after my last message. "Hi, this is Emily." I swallowed the lump rising in my throat. "It's me, Natalie." A pause. Just enough hesitation to betray the tension under her polished tone. "Oh, hi. Everything okay?" I nearly laughed. "I'm just calling to congratulate you. Heard the wedding was magical." Another pause. "Yeah, it was perfect. Really perfect. Sorry you couldn't make it." "Couldn't? Or wasn't invited?" I let her have her charade. "I'm sure you both looked stunning. Especially with the venue I paid for." Emily's voice wavered just slightly. "Natalie, that was generous of you." Tyler meant to call. "We just got so busy, and—" "Save it," I said, sharper than I meant to. "I didn't call to fight. I just needed to talk to Tyler." He's at work. Is this about the trust? Bingo. Yes, I replied coolly. I've been going over some documents. I realized something important. I still have the power to revoke it. Silence. Then, Natalie, we thought this was settled. That money is going toward our new house. We already signed the papers. Well, I said, standing and walking to the window, you should have invited the person footing the bill to your fairy tale first. Her voice tightened. Are you threatening us? No, just reminding you that family isn't something you edit for convenience. Actions have consequences. I ended the call without waiting for her reply. I expected to feel triumphant. I didn't. I felt hollow. I sat back down, opened my laptop, and typed an email to my attorney. I wasn't sure if I would revoke the trust entirely or simply delay the transfer. But one thing was clear. I needed to take back the narrative. They had excluded me from the table I had built. It was time I pulled out a chair. For myself. The wedding photos were everywhere. Social media exploded with images of my son and his bride, his new beginning, as the caption read. Friends tagged him in radiant group shots, perfectly posed in front of the vineyard I had financed. The same vineyard where I had once held his 5th birthday party, back when he adored me. Not a single photo featured me. I clicked through every album, every story, every short video. They didn't even use a generic "thanks to family" message. It was as if I had never existed, like I had funded a dream and then been erased from it. My stomach clenched. I zoomed in on one picture. Emily, holding a champagne glass aloft, Tyler kissing her temple. In the background, the floral arch I had chosen. Even the damn cake was from my baker. I called my cousin Rachel. She picked up on the first ring. Hey Nat, I was just about to call you. You saw the photos? A pause. I did. You're not in any of them. Not even one, I whispered. It's like they've rewritten the story. Rachel's voice hardened. You spent years keeping that boy's life stable. You paid his tuition, bought his first car, helped with Emily's business. And now this? I closed the tab. They don't see me as part of their image anymore. I'm too inconvenient. You should take back the trust. I could. But that makes me look bitter. Petty. Rachel snorted. It's not petty to ask for respect. Maybe they need a wake-up call. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed years of memories, bedtime stories, science fair projects, late-night talks after heartbreaks. Then I remembered a folder buried in my closet. Old photos. Real ones, printed on glossy paper. I found them by morning. Tyler sitting on my lap as a baby, Emily hugging me during her college graduation. Photos they had forgotten existed, and I had the originals. I opened a new Instagram account, and I started posting one photo at a time, with captions, with truth. I wasn't erasing them. I was reminding them. I was here first. The posts didn't go unnoticed. By the 3rd day, the new Instagram account had over 2,000 followers. Strangers were commenting things like, "You deserved better," and "They really left you out?" But it wasn't the likes that mattered. It was the silence that followed. The real-life silence from Tyler and Emily. No texts, no calls, no confrontation, just silence. And that silence was louder than any apology they could have offered. But I wasn't waiting for apologies anymore. I was moving with purpose. I found myself sorting through old boxes. Letters, birthday cards Tyler had written when he was little, Mother's Day crafts. And I wept. Not because I missed the past, but because I finally accepted that version of my son was gone. He had been swallowed by something colder, something shinier. Emily's version of perfection didn't include me. I poured myself a cup of tea and looked out the window. Then came the message from Emily. One line. We'd appreciate it if you could stop posting private family photos. It's a bit inappropriate. I stared at the screen, heart thudding, fingers trembling. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Let's talk." Just a demand, like I was an embarrassment to be managed. I typed my response slowly. "These are my memories, Emily. Not yours to erase." Then I logged out. The next day, I met with my attorney. His office smelled like leather and eucalyptus. I handed him the trust documents I had once so proudly signed, the ones that secured Tyler's future. He skimmed them. "You gave them full control after your death, not before. So yes, you could revoke access. Or shift it." "To who?" I asked. He looked at me with quiet curiosity. "Do you have someone in your life who's treated you with gratitude? Loyalty?" My thoughts flew to Rachel. And to Olivia, my goddaughter, who called every week just to hear about my garden. "Yes," I said, "I do." "Then maybe it's time to reward those who still remember you matter." I left the office lighter than I had in weeks. Not angry, not broken, just focused. They took me out of the photos, so I was taking them out of the future. "Yes," I said, "but I've decided it's time to start over. On my terms." The agent walked through the house, murmuring about staging and market value. I didn't care. This place, once my haven, now felt like a mausoleum of disappointment. Every corner held echoes of a family that no longer existed. Within a week, we had offers. High ones. The market was hot. And I accepted an all-cash deal with a quick close. I didn't even flinch when the moving truck came. I packed only what mattered. My books. A few framed photos from years ago, before everything soured. The china set I inherited from my grandmother. Everything else. The couch Tyler picked out. The gifts Emily gave me to match her aesthetic. I left behind. I moved into a smaller home across town, one with a garden and a sunroom. It didn't carry memories. Just sunlight. Rachel came over with a bottle of champagne and 2 plastic cups. "To freedom," she said, grinning. "To peace," I replied. As we drank, Rachel pulled something from her purse. A framed picture. It was me, Olivia and her, laughing over birthday cake from years ago. I hadn't even remembered the moment, but seeing it, I felt my ribs loosen. "My lungs fill. Put this on your new wall," she said. "Start your collection of real family." That night, I sat in my sunroom, looking out at the stars, and wrote the last entry in the journal I'd kept through the ordeal. They didn't break me. They just cleared space for the life I was meant to build. And I'm building it now, brick by honest brick. My phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. "Mom, I'm proud of you. So proud." I let the tears fall this time, not out of sadness, out of release. For the first time in years, I felt light. I didn't seek revenge. Not directly. I didn't send angry texts. I didn't show up to their doorsteps with accusations or fury. I had already done enough by walking away, and by refusing to enable their behavior any longer. But life has a way of evening the scales when you stop interfering. It started with a phone call from a mutual acquaintance. "Hey," she said cautiously, "you might want to sit down." Apparently, Tyler had lost his job. Emily had gone on a spree. New clothes, luxury items, expensive trips, all while draining the joint account they shared. The moment Tyler's paycheck stopped, the overdrafts began. "They're kind of falling apart," the woman said. "It's all over town." I didn't gloat. I didn't even smile. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel validated. More reports came in. Tyler had moved back in with his father. Emily had tried to crowdfund her, quote, healing journey, painting herself as a victim of family abandonment. Nobody bought it. One day, I opened social media to find a post from Emily. It was a cryptic quote over a blurry photo of herself crying in a car. "Some people will destroy the best thing that ever happened to them and blame you for the fire." Rachel forwarded it to me with a single emoji. Clown face, I chuckled. Not out of spite, but because it was so predictable. When you build a life on lies, even your pain ends up scripted. The funniest part? Tyler emailed me, a long, meandering message about how he never stopped loving me, how things got complicated, and how he hoped we could find our way back to each other. I didn't reply. Instead, I printed it out, folded it carefully, and tossed it into my fireplace. Let the past burn where it belongs, and let my future rise from its ashes. Months passed. Quiet ones. Peaceful ones. For the first time in years, I wasn't waking up to dread or confusion. There were no passive-aggressive notes on the counter. No need to calculate every word I said. No fear of being emotionally ambushed by people who were supposed to love me. I had silence. And I had Rachel. She became more than family. She became my compass. We spent weekends at the farmer's market, went hiking, drank wine on her porch, and built a new rhythm that felt like home. Real home. One evening she said, "You know, it's okay to let yourself be happy now." I nodded, but I wasn't sure I believed it yet, until I met Mason. He wasn't flashy. He didn't try to impress me. He just was. Calm, grounded, kind to waiters, and honest in a way that felt foreign after Tyler. On our third date, he asked, "So what's your story?" I hesitated. I didn't want to drag the skeletons out of the closet so soon. But he smiled and added, "You don't have to tell me everything. Just the parts you're ready to rewrite." That sentence stayed with me. The truth was, I didn't want to keep telling the same story, the one where I was betrayed, discarded, and hurt. That chapter was over, and if I kept rereading it, I'd never move forward. So I told him a new version, one that didn't focus on what was done to me, but what I did next. I told him about rebuilding, about finding my own place, decorating it with secondhand treasures and soul, about reconnecting with old hobbies, painting, running, cooking with actual joy. I didn't need to be rescued. I had already saved myself, but it was nice to be seen. I stood outside my old family home one last time. It looked smaller now, less intimidating, less like a monument of shame and sacrifice, and more like what it truly was, just a house. Inside it were the echoes of years I could never get back, the whispered lies, the nights I cried myself to sleep, the dreams I sacrificed for people who never thought twice about mine. I wasn't there to confront anyone. I had no letters, no speeches, no revenge to deliver. That part of the story was done. I was there to choose, because I had received an offer, a generous one, from a local charity organization. They wanted to buy the house and convert it into a safe space for young women rebuilding their lives after abuse or abandonment. They had seen the news story about the court case. They saw me. And they asked, "Would you be willing to let this place be something good?" The offer wasn't about money. It was about closure. It was about turning a monument to betrayal into a beacon of hope. I accepted. That day, I handed over the keys to a new chapter I'd never live in and walked into the one I was writing for myself. I never spoke to my parents again. I heard rumors that the divorce had destroyed them financially, that Tyler was still chasing schemes that led nowhere, and that their world had collapsed without the free labor of a daughter they once discarded. I didn't care, because I had a life now, one filled with color, with peace, with real love. Mason and I didn't talk about forever. We talked about today, and that was enough. Rachel and I remained inseparable. My cousin's little girl now called me auntie, and sometimes I cried at how much love still existed in the world. Even after everything. I changed my last name. I moved across the country. And every time someone asked about my past, I simply smiled and said, "It's a long story, but I'm the one who gets to finish it."